And we are live. Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait for some more people to come in. But welcome back to Nekkid Week 2 Midweek Reading Sprint. I'm here with a special guest, and I will have her introduce herself in just a second. And then you'll probably have to reintroduce yourself again when we get a little bit more people in here. But as always, I am your host for this evening. My name is Oshale of Oshi Reads here on the internet, and our lovely Brittany of Melanin Eclectic is not going to be with us this evening due to adulting. So I have a special guest with us tonight who will be joining us, and I will allow her to introduce herself now.
Hi everybody, my name is Isata, formerly known as Abominable Book Girl, now known as Dear B, Love Me.
Yes, my good friend Isata is here with us tonight, and I'm super excited because it's been a while since we've had you on. I think we had you on, has it been a year? It's been over a year, hasn't it, since we last had you on, I think?
Yes, it's been since Corona was at its, too soon. Never mind. It's been a while. It's been about a year, yep.
So I'm super excited to have you back. And, I will think about linking the podcast or episode that we did with you. I think we talked about, I can't remember. I feel like it had something to do with immigration, but I'm drawing a blank. But I will try to find that episode and link it for those who are interested after tonight. If you want to go see more of her here on our platform. But I want to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to start the reading sprint soon. Don't worry, y'all. But we're just going to have some light chatter for the next 2 minutes or so, 2 to 6 minutes about what we're currently reading. So, Isata, what are you currently reading?
Wait, you have to do y'all's intro. I like the intro.
Okay, I'll do the intro. Okay, y'all, welcome to Black Prose Podcast, where Black lives, Black voices, and Black stories have always mattered. Tonight, we're doing reading sprints. I'm super excited, and I really want to know what you're currently reading.
Okay, awesome. I'm currently reading A Friends to Lovers, my first, my last. Because I have been sick and have not been able to read recently. So I'm still reading My First, My Last by, I will tell you as soon as I find her name. Suzette, nope, it's not Suzette. Brooklyn Mosley.
I remember you telling me that you were reading this when we talked about it earlier this week. Y'all, I have completely strayed away from my TBR. It's kind of tragic. I'm going to try to get back to it. I will say that I have read the group pick. So for that, I'm very excited. So I have read Stiff by Stephanie Nicole Norris. I really, really enjoyed it, y'all. It was very enjoyable. And it was more of a novella length for me, maybe like a tad bit longer than a novella. But I was left fully satisfied. I did not feel like I needed more. I thought it was great. So for those of y'all who have not read the group pick yet, I highly recommend going to read it. It's quite short in terms of it not being like a full length novel. So you'll be able to read it within the next couple of days or a day or so. But I really enjoyed it. And then I am currently going to start reading my TBR since I did not read my TBR last week. Let's see. Getting some answers in the chat. Aaron says, I'm reading God's Gift to Women by Michael Baisden, and I'm hoping to start The Prada Plan by Ashley Antoinette. I like Ashley Antoinette a lot. I see her books all the time. And then Jenna L. Smith says, I'm currently reading Fell for a Billionaire Vampire 2. Oh, that sounds good. I wonder how that is. Yeah, every time I decide to do a readathon, I always go into a reading slump, or I completely veer off the entire trajectory of the readathon. Do you go through this too, Isata?
I think that's only fair because once you have, again, there are specific group of people in this world who are like, this is my TBR, this is what I'm doing, and they accomplish the thing that they said they were going to do. And then there's the rest of us where it's like, you have to read the books that you said you were going to read, and like your inner 4-year-old is like, no, and then all of a sudden you don't want to read any of the things you've already said you were going to read, or you don't really want to read anything, and I swear it's just because you have a set list of things you were going to read. Because for the rest of us, if we don't have a set list, we'll read like 50 books that month, but if we have a list, God help us if we make it through one. And this is just the story that I'm sticking by.
I 100% agree. For me personally, I am starting to realize that I just look at readathons as an opportunity to read as much as possible, almost guilt free. I don't know if that makes sense, but sometimes when I am in a place where I want to read a lot, I may feel guilt if I feel like I should be doing something else, like something more quote unquote productive, or oh, I should be working on this, or I should be doing another draft, my manuscript, or I should be, I don't know, doing my taxes or like cleaning my house or whatever. Which, by the way, is why I love audiobooks, because you can do all of those things and listen to a book. But I'm starting to realize that I look at readathons as an opportunity to just read guilt free, because I can read as much as I want for this specific amount of time. But then I never actually want to read in accordance to the readathon, which is problematic, but it is what it is.
I don't think it's problematic because technically speaking, okay, if we're really thinking Nekkid-a-thon, right? I feel like as long as you're reading romance, you're good. Like, I mean, clean romance, maybe you're not good because Nekkid. But I feel like as long as you're I'm a rule bender. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, I am as well. But speaking of bending the rules, we are not going to bend the rules tonight. We are going to start our reading sprint in just a few minutes at 7:45. So we are going to sprint from 7:45 until 8:15, and that will be our first 30-minute sprint. So get comfortable, go get your book. We're about to get into it. Super excited. What are you going to be reading tonight?
I'm going to continue reading My Friends to Lovers because I want to hurry up and finish it so I can read Stiff. But I do know, was that you, Aaron? Who was it? Was it Aaron? Aaron, please, when you start reading the Prada Plan, please let me know how that is because that sounds really, really good. And I've been meaning to pick a book by Ashley Antoinette. I just haven't picked the one yet.
I think for me tonight, I'm going to finish. I'm the very tail end of this one series by Diamond Johnson that I've been reading for the past couple months. You know, as the books come out, I read them quickly. And the third book was released on the 13th. It's called The Comfort of a Thug. And this is a third book. And I'm going to finish it because I literally have I'm at 96% right now on my Kindle. And then I'm going to dive into my actual Nekkid TBR.
May the force be with you. You can make it through at least two of the other books in your Naked TBR, I think.
Yeah, I have high hopes. There are two books in particular I have my eye on making it through. There's a vampire one that I'm really intrigued by. And then there's a sports romance, which, you know, I'm a sucker for sports romance. So I'm intrigued by that one as well. And that's a Christina C. Jones one, which I've been saving. So I'm extra excited. Okay, y'all, it is 7:45. So we are going to start the first sprint now. If you are just joining us, I will have a little ticker at the bottom of the screen. So let us begin. Happy reading. See y'all in 30 minutes. Hey y'all, it is 8:15. I didn't want to startle anybody. First reading sprint completed. And actually, what we're going to do is roll right into the second reading sprint because I don't want to keep us here too late. And then at the end, we will talk about what we've been reading. So that way it kind of goes pretty smooth. So we are going to roll into the second reading sprint in just a minute. Let's see here. Isata, you still with us?
I am still here.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm just updating the reading sprint banner. And you good with just rolling into the second reading sprint and having a discussion at the end?
That's a lot better than stopping. Yep.
Okay. All right, second reading sprint begins now. Happy reading. Okay, everyone, I lost track of time a little bit, but we have successfully completed our second reading sprint. Sorry if I startled anybody,
Were you
but
stuck in your book?
well, the irony is I wasn't even really reading. I got stuck doing this other thing. Long story, adulting, hashtag adulting. Um, but I do want to talk about what we've been reading. So I want to know more about what you've been reading, Isita.
Okay, so this book is super duper cute, and I'm low key, high key gonna message the author and ask her if she wants to talk about it because it's set in New York because I mean Texas can never be a place where books are set unless Dorian Love writes it anyway. Um, the two characters, the girl's name is Isla, the guy's name is Hassani. Hassani's of Jamaican origin. We're still trying to figure out Isla's origin, but both of their names are Arabic, and I really just want to know if that was on purpose because 9/11 plays a role here. We haven't quite got there yet, but it's coming. So I just want to see why, how is this for connectivity purposes? But their little romance is so cute because they both like each other, but they can't like each other. But I'm also slightly bothered because Isla looks like Lauren Hill, but the light skin version, and I told you this earlier, but they both have the light eye thing going on, which isn't bad. It's not the end of the world, but like I just really like brown people. So yeah, there's that. But so far it's pretty good.
Yeah, I feel like it's interesting when we talk about the whole, the spectrum of Blackness, especially when it comes to reading Black romances. And we talked about this a little bit earlier this week, a lot of authors who like to, write about light skinned characters, so to speak, and how maybe it doesn't feel as equal writing about characters who have deeper skin tones. It's very interesting, especially in street lit. I found it to be extremely fascinating to see kind of that whole colorism aspect play out. But my thing is, I always, especially, and this plays out especially in street lit for me, I always look to see what the author looks like. And typically, whatever the author looks like phenotypically is how she models her heroines and heroes. So I don't know. I can't really be too angry about an author wanting to write themselves into their books in terms of representation. That doesn't bother me as much. But yeah,
That is very true. I mean, for everybody except for Beverly Jenkins because she's Beverly Jenkins and she would never. Um, I still think the story is super cute. I think their little budding romance because it's friends to lovers. And I am just absolute garbage for a well written friends to lovers, a well written enemies to friends to lovers. Anything, I'm trash for it. Just put me in it. Just I don't care.
I agree. Those are two of my top tropes. I think my top three tropes are friends to lovers, then enemies to lovers, which is also really like a bully romance when done really well. And then the sports romance. Anything sports romance, especially with NFL teams, or even, no, I prefer NFL.
I've never okay, it's not that I've never gotten into sports romance. I like certain sports romance, but I only like them for the celebrity aspect. I think I'm more of like a celebrity type gal. Sports romance are only interesting to me if like Christina C. Jones writes them. Or there was one other person who wrote, there was a sports romance. No, I think I'm thinking of Hit the Floor. Yeah, I lied. It's Hit the Floor. Carry on.
I think I want to say it's Alexandria House that has the sports romance series, or I know Alexandra Warren is dabbling into it now, but
I don't know if it was Alexander. I know Alec the only athlete prior to because it's been about a year and change since I've read new no about a year since I've read new work from Alexandria House. But the only one I remember that was an athlete, well, really well that was an athlete anyway, was Leland. I think there might have been one other one.
Oh, the McLean brothers. Yes, Leland was the youngest brother, I believe. It's so funny how much that series has stayed with me, even though I've only reread the first book once. But that entire series has stayed with me, which just shows how amazing that series is. The McLean Brothers series, if you haven't read it yet, you really need to check it out. Highly recommend. And I think they even have audiobooks now, which is very impressive.
They
But
do.
they do. My all-time favorite is the Connecticut King series, which is co-authored by Love Belvin and Christina C. Jones. I am obsessed. And they just released 2 new books in the series if anyone is interested. And I've read the Love Belvin book, and I am about to read the Christina C. Jones book, and I am so excited.
I would love the Connecticut King series, but then, this would mean I'd have to speak the blasphemous things that I speak about Love Belvin that makes all the Love Belvin girls try to fight me. I don't dislike her. I like her. I just wish sometimes she would, just tell the story, just thank you.
I think you like very concise writing styles, um, and you want the writing style to be very to the point. I feel like simplistic is not the right word because simplistic can often be confused with, elementary or just, not skillfully done. I think you just want authors to get to the point. And for me personally, I don't know. I love Belvin's writing style. It just allows me to get really lost in the story. I don't know. It's hard for me to explain, but I will say, she has gotten a lot more concise with her more recent books.
I agree. That Love and Basketball type esque story, that was my favorite of hers. Also Cozy Queen. I like the fake dating trope as well sometimes. I think the only time that I have just like had a time with it was there's an author, oh crap. They're sisters, Becca and somebody else. And they wrote, I can't remember the name of it anymore because I've pushed it from my mind because the series just got bad when they did a spin-off. But they Becca and something, Richie, the Richie twins. And
Oh, Krista and
thank you. And it's about the sex addict and this alcohol addict, and they were fake dating, and it was so good. And it was about her whole family, and it was kind of like a Kardashian situation, but not really. It was really, really good. And then they made a spin-off series that was really, really bad, and they just killed it for me.
yeah, Krista and Becca Ritchie write really great books. I will agree with that. I haven't read their more recent books, like the spinoff ones I haven't read, so I can't speak on those. But they are one of the better, writing duo author teams out there. Sorry if y'all can hear Tobe whining. He's really annoying. But fake dating, I do like the fake dating trope. I think I prefer fake dating in a collegiate setting, not even necessarily high school. Like, it's cute in high school, but I really like it in a collegiate setting in new adult. That's where it really shines for me, I think. Um, I don't necessarily like it when it's like full on adults living their adult lives. I don't know. I prefer it more on like a college campus. That's where I think it really shines for me personally. And then let me see. I'm trying to think of other tropes that I really enjoy. Anything paranormal, I'm down. If you have a vampire, werewolf, any type of monster, I'm there.
You see, the monsters get sketchy for me because I
Really?
have such a love-hate relationship. I think when it comes to vampires, and this is probably because I am not as well read on the monster smut. The best I have in my arsenal for and it's not even smut. It's Vampire Academy. That's top of the line to me. Sookie Stackhouse needed to die. Bella Swan needed to die. Like, and because of these things, it's very hard for me to progress, you know, in that area. It's very, very difficult for me.
It's so funny because I really tried to reread the Vampire Academy series. I want to say it was 2020. I tried to reread it. I didn't have a lot of success, and I don't know if it was because I wasn't in the right headspace to reread it, or what it was exactly, because I devoured that series years ago. I was obsessed. And for me right now, I think it is hard to find a really good, solid vampire romance. Whenever I find one, that's good. It doesn't tick all the boxes for me, but it's enough that I can be happy. But I haven't really found one where I'm just like, this is amazing in a while.
I understand that. I think for me, I have see you and I both went back and we tried to reread Twilight, and rereading Twilight was enough for me to realize even the first book, which I loved back then, I still don't like Bella, and I think it's just knowing what she was going to do that just I couldn't do her anymore. Um as far as Vampire Academy, I don't know that I would ever purposely go back and read it just because Isata age, I want to say I was 20 when I read Vampire Academy, is different as a reader than Isata age 30. So I don't know that that's the best idea. I might still do it because I mean I can still watch Degrassi, which by the way I am still doing the slow watch of Degrassi from season 1 because yes. But it's just not something I have thought to do yet.
Yeah, I think I just wasn't in the right headspace for it because I was borrowing the books from the library and I literally kept like reborrowing them, re-extending, when it was due, and it wasn't happening. So I think I'm going to try again maybe next year to reread the series and see how that goes when it comes to Vampire Academy. I tried really hard to reread the Twilight series, and it was extremely difficult. Didn't even get past the first book. I think I read the first half. Read the first half of the first book, skimmed the second half, failed miserably in rereading the second and third, skimmed the fourth, and then I tried to read the one where it was like Edward's story, and that was an epic fail. So, but I don't even want to go into that. I do want to kind of try to wrap things up because it is 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I don't want to keep you all too much later. But I said, do you have plans on what's the rest of your Nekkid TBR? Just curious.
Okay, so let me pull up my Kindle because I am a hot mess. Um, I need to read Stiff just for the group discussion purposes. And also, I keep forgetting the name of the dang book, but it's the plus size poly one, which I'm 5% into. Is it 5% or 8%? One of those two. Um, and my Kindle's not loading. But I'm 8% into that one. And if I could figure out the name, I'd let you know, but I can't. So there's that. Because technology doesn't work when you need it to.
Never does. But yes. Oh,
Oh no, I was gonna say, yeah, those are the two. The um poly one and stiff are my two that I'm hoping to get through. Also, technically speaking, this does cover my Nekkid readathon because this is an author that's new to me and smut is involved. So yes, there we go.
I think it's smart to try to cover as many of the challenges in as few books as possible. So if y'all haven't read the group pick yet, I highly recommend it. Like I said a little bit in the beginning, Stiff by Stephanie Nicole Norris. So good. And I am going to read Christina C. Jones, her latest release in the Connecticut King series. And then I have a vampire book that I cannot remember the name of right now that I am going to try to read as well. Let me see if I can pull it up on my Kindle real quick. These are the two books I'm going to try to get through by the end of the week. Let's see. Just want to give you all the names and then we're going to be out of here. Oh, of course, nothing's loading, which is fun. Okay, Offensive Formations, the Connecticut Kings, Book 8 by Christina C. Jones. And then also, what is it called? Oh, yes, Blood Bully by Natavia. That's the vampire one. And then if I have time, I'm really curious about the one that we discussed on our very first live called Chirac, A State of Ruin by Jade Jones. And that was the post-apocalyptic one that we talked about, like zombies and like black zombies. I don't know. I'm very, very intrigued. So if I have time, I'll try to get to that one. But I think we're going to wrap things up here. Let's see what y'all are saying in the chat. Aaron says, I need to read Stiff, but I'm not in the mood for smut. I will say this. Stiff was surprisingly more of an emotional read than I was expecting. You know, I thought it was just going to be the raw, the gritty, the sex. But it was surprisingly romantic and emotional and beautiful. So I don't know, maybe if that helps at all. Esther, you have any closing statements?
No, I just hope everybody enjoys their reading time, even if you're not in the mood to read certain things. Read what floats your boat. As long as you read something, that's the whole purpose of like the readathon.
Absolutely. So I just want to thank y'all so much for joining us tonight on our second midweek reading sprint. I think it was quite successful, and y'all have really made Nekkid so enjoyable this year. We have really enjoyed the participation on Instagram and answering the questions and interacting with y'all. That has made the Readathon so much fun, and we cannot wait for our discussion on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Sunday, we're going to wrap things up, talk about what we read, talk about the group book, and it's just a time to celebrate Black romance. So, and that's it for me. Poor Isata. Are you still on mute?
I was. I'm sorry.
You're
Um,
fine.
Hi again. I'm Isata. You can follow me on Instagram at Dear B Love Me, formerly known as Abominable Book Girl, but I killed her. And I hope you guys have a good time reading, and thanks for having me again, Oshale.
Yes, of course. Always a pleasure to have you on the platform. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and happy reading and happy rest of Nekkid. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.